You're in.
I am in the screen. All right, let's get started. I assume everyone online can hear me. But we're in a little bit different setting today. I really just wanted to be in Molly's office just one time. So made sure they practiced during our PTA meeting. But thank you guys for being here. I know we were online last month.
Virtual day.
Yep, virtual day last month. So it's been since December since we've been in person together. But just to kick us off, I know Sarah is out today. So in regards to any, I guess with the minutes, anybody have any objection to the minutes or anything? No. Approved. All right. And then Danielle, you for treasurer's report.
Excited about upcoming. No. The upcoming fundraiser.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
Healthy
We're
budget.
waiting for our big project.
Yeah. Healthy budget. Just good.
Yeah. So just in case anyone couldn't hear, our budget is healthy and we expect it to get a little bit more healthy after the fundraiser coming up, which is our last fundraiser of the year, like normal in the spring. But we'll jump into a few things later in more detail about the fundraiser. But Mr. Davis, you got anything you'd like to do?
It's hard to believe we're in February. February will be over very soon. And as you all know, we started school earlier. So I believe after we get back from spring break, things will go very quickly. So we still are very busy with meeting the needs of our students academically as well as social and emotional learning opportunities. Couple things from my end that are some reminders. Valentine's Day is approaching, and our practice here at Brushy Creek is not a party, but we do encourage students to exchange Valentine's cards, and our teachers traditionally will provide students with a small treat. So it's not one of our approved parties, but it's a tradition that we've had here at Brushy Creek for quite some time. And students really do get excited about exchanging cards. So that is coming up Wednesday of this week. Also, as we heard earlier, our first grade students will be performing. And as a reminder, that was a commitment that we made this year. Now that we have transitioned out of all of the COVID restrictions, it was our desire to have more performances and opportunities for parents to be a part of our instructional program, as well as the opportunity for students to perform. So our first grade students have been practicing and they are excited about performing for parents in our community. And that will be tomorrow at 8:30, those of you who have first grade students. As we approach the third quarter, we are beginning to have conversations about possible retentions. Retention is a last resort here for us at Brushy Creek, but there are times when we look at the academic progress of our students that we do have extensive conversations with teachers as well as parents in regards to if retention is appropriate for students. And so those students that we are beginning to have those soft conversations, teachers will send home a possible retention letter next week in the Thursday communication folder. That's another layer of communication for parents from the school that we have concerns about the academic progress of a student. And it's another opportunity for the teacher as well as the parent to collaborate. It is not a final decision. It is just we're thinking about if the student does not show significant improvement prior to the end of the school year. So those letters shouldn't be a surprise because teachers have been having conversations along the way about any struggles that students may be experiencing here at Brushy Creek. So that is information that we always like to share with parents. Also, as a tradition here for us, we always, as we think about planning for the upcoming year, we allow parents to write characteristic letters describing a teacher based on characteristics that will best help to support a student's need. That has been a tradition for us for the past 11 years. And we'll post all of that information on our website because there are certain things that parents are not allowed to request. If so, those letters will be thrown out, such as parents are not allowed to identify the name of a teacher. Parents can only focus on characteristics. For example, my child will benefit from someone that is organized, someone that is kind, someone that has a flexible approach to their classroom setting. So those are things that we look for. And we read all of those characteristic letters and we place students in classrooms that we believe teachers match that personality. So that's a unique opportunities for parents to give us some feedback based off of teacher placement. So that information should be posted very soon. And we do get a large number of letters from parents in our community. So please look for that as well. Also, I know that Adam and Joseph and members of the instructional leadership team, we met, I think earlier last week or maybe towards the latter part of last week or this week, I can't keep up. But we talked about opportunities for a budget in regards to the line item. I think there's a $10,000, I believe, line item that we still need to allocate in regards to supporting the overall instructional program. And I do have some quotes that certainly I would like for the board to consider, knowing that we are approaching our spring fundraiser. I think the sooner that we can make decisions and communicate to parents before we ask for more money as we approach this fundraiser. So I do have some quotes. One of the quotes that we originally had some conversations about is a refresh of our performance space now that we have committed to having more class performances. There are some opportunities, some upgrades that I think will help to create a more inclusive performance space for our students. It is a very healthy quote. So I know we'll look at that and make a decision.
Framing things like that.
Right. Yeah. That quote is, and I know the board will look at it and it is item, it is broken down. And so we can decide if we want to do certain things or not. But the full quote is $23,110.51. We also have a quote for poster maker. It's time for us to renew that. Our teachers do utilize the poster maker to support teaching and learning with a lot of the anchor charts and support documents that we utilize to facilitate teaching and learning. And that quote is $7,087.94. And then we also have a quote for Brain Pop. Molly, you want to talk a little bit about Brain Pop?
Sure. It's a technology-based program that teachers use mostly whole group in the classroom. It's not as much anything that the kids go take off individually on their Chromebook. It's more like a teaching tool. So in a lesson plan format, just to give you a quick little summary idea, there's an activating or a summarizing strategy for every lesson. And Brain Pop really gives an exciting way for teachers to do that. And it's quick, content-based, fun. The kids love it. It has this fun little song when they hear it. Everybody's right there engaged. But it does come with a price. It's almost $5,000, I think. Charlie,
Yeah,
maybe.
$4,095.
Okay, so a little closer to 4,000. Most technology programs we renew in the fall, and they run through the calendar year. But Brain Pop, we initially purchased in January, so it falls kind of at a funky mid-year time, which is why this one's coming up. It is something we've kind of gone back and forth with having because it is kind of an extra little icing on the cake, but they really do enjoy it.
They do. So those are some quotes that I would like for the board to give some consideration. And again, I think the sooner the better. Before we ask parents for more money, we need to be good stewards of the money that parents have already allocated to support the overall instructional program. And those are three, I believe, good opportunities for support from our PTA. And so I know that we will give some consideration to those and make a decision prior to us starting another fundraiser. Those are all the things that I have from my end. Any questions for me? Any questions?
I had a question about Brain Pop. Is that for all grade levels, like K-4 all the way through 5?
That's a great question. Yes. So there's two components. There's a Brain Pop Junior piece that runs K through 2 to 3,
Okay,
and then just Brain Pop, which is 2 to 3 through 5.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And our subscription comes with both, which is a great piece.
That's what.
Yeah.
Good question. Thank you. Any other questions for us? Awesome. Thank you all.
All right, thank you, Mr. Davis. So just to go through a few things, mainly focusing on Boosterthon, because that is next week.
I see from the PTA meeting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I know. I was like, oh, all right, we got a lot of boxes here. So Boosterthon will kick off on February 20th. And the way we kick that off is more like we'll have two basic assemblies, younger group of kids and the older group of kids, like a 30-minute assembly kind of thing, to kind of get them hyped about it and just kind of explain what it is. This year, remind them, for the ones who are new to the school and new here, about what Booster is and what they're trying to do. It will be partnered with Dude Perfect this year, so all prizes, registering your account online will get Dude Perfect products. Most of the kids probably will know who Dude Perfect is. But they're basically, I guess it's 5 guys who basically just do a bunch of trick shots and all these different kind of videos too, as well. They've expanded pretty big. So that'll probably, again, I don't see an issue with the excitement over it for the kids to try to get some of these products. Because everything, as we saw in the PTA room, everything is labeled like Dude Perfect trick shot, Dude Perfect frisbee. So everything will be Dude Perfect related. It'll go to the 20th to the 28th. And basically how it'll work for the students is each day at the last 15 minutes of the related arts, they'll be in the gym, and that'll kind of be their, in a sense, their rally, kind of like the push of what's happening that day or what's going to happen that next day. And that'll be usually a couple people from Booster who's kind of rallying that on, cheering, helping get excitement going. But that's every day. So that'll be that Wednesday all the way until the fun run day, that they'll meet in the last 15 minutes of the related arts. And then fun run. And then we always do that on that'll be on the 28th. Hopefully it'll be warmer than last year. Because it was windy and cold last year. And the way we'll do that is we basically break them up into 2 grades. So it'll be the youngest group to 1st grade will be in the morning. Well, all of them are technically in the morning, and then it'll move on to 2nd, 3rd, then move on to 4th and 5th. And 4th and 5th has the color run, which is different than the others. The request that Booster made was if we could have a few, like a 2 or 3, like battery operated leaf blowers, because it's a lot easier to blow off the color, and it's kind of a fun way to do it. So that was their request, along with like just having a few, like 2 to 3 volunteers at each thing just to assist. So it's not a crazy thing on our end, like Booster really runs everything. It's obviously the teacher just commit to having them in, in the related arts space in the gym each day. But then the volunteers on our end is really just that end on that fun run day for those 3 fun runs. So nothing crazy. But yeah, fun run is on the 28th. Fundraising goals, as Mr. Davis just talked about, one of the things that I guess considering and raising money, sometimes it requires quotes. And sometimes we are waiting on people to get us quotes, which we have some quotes now. And again, it just kind of depends on, we try to do things that are obviously going to benefit the whole student population, but also things that are just overdue and needing to be updated. Because if there's future things that we want to do here at the school in drama, as an example, or performances, like it gives us the option to do those things. And as I've always said in the beginning from last year, like some of these things can be a thing where we do like phase 1 this year, phase 2 next year. So it kind of depends when there's larger ticket items. It's kind of our thought process. But the way it looks, based on our budget and things, I think we'll be able to do multiple things this year. As thinking something like Brain Pop, that obviously doesn't drain all of the funds that we've raised, but it is beneficial for the whole student population and teachers. But that'll be something that our plan is to get that worked out and communicated before the 20th. That way parents know, at least those who have already give or about to give again, they already know here's the plan in place. Even though all the full details might not be fully laid out, but there will be some things that they actually have more concrete understanding on what we're going to do this year. Fundraising goals last year, I think it was 20,000. And then we went over that. So our goal this year is 25,000, just based on the amount of money we brought in last year. And again, you never know, just because economy and everything costs more this year than compared to last year. So we'll never know, but I do think with the Do Perfect focus of things that'll help with the excitement from the kids side of things. And then there was an option this year with Booster, which it was going to give parents the option to check a box to basically pay for an extra processing fee and services fee to cover that. And we just saw it like based on like how expensive things are already, and that families are already donated, a good amount to the school. We didn't want to add this extra thing, even though it's optional. We would rather raise, 1,000 to 2,000 less than ask our families to donate an extra 10% on top of their gift. So that is something that we won't do this year, but I think that is in the future a booster thing that will be across the board. Like that's on all they're given, but we just decided this year we didn't want to jump into that. Just because it feels like, again, we didn't want to. We're fine if we don't get an extra 1,000 this year. We'd rather than asking parents to feel like they have to commit to more money. We'll work on like a week in regards to the PTA closet, which is behind us. Well, it's not just the PTA closet, but it's where most of the PTA stuff is stored, behind this on the stage, behind the stage in that giant closet. Our plan is pretty much probably sometime in May is what we're looking at, to work out a week where we start on a Monday, we pull everything out on the stage, keep the curtain up so everyone doesn't see everything going on, and then slowly clean it and then work on putting things back in, and having a few runs to the dumpster for things that we just feel like we won't ever use or has been in there before COVID and we've never used it. So again, the space, not only would it benefit us in PTA, but it will benefit maintenance and things as well, just to have space and not to have to slowly weave your way to try to get to something. That'll be something we probably do a week in May, will be the plan before school ends, because we would like to be able to go into next year with a full clean slate and everything organized in that room. So pay attention to those details. Once we get them, we'll email all volunteers, because we'll need some manpower on that, man/woman power on that side of things. We are at the point where we'll be working on like executive board. We usually will start general board stuff. So for those of you who are holding a current general board position, probably sometime in end of March, April, we'll probably be reaching out to everyone to see like planning to commit to next year or not. But then like executive board, we're trying to figure some of that stuff out. Now there are some things that are already figured out, like Adam, who will be president next year because he's currently in a seat that is for the next president. But there'll be a few changes in regards to executive board. But if someone is interested in being on the executive board, whether like in the treasury side of things or secretary side of things or whatever, feel free to let us know that, because we obviously consider all people and we go through that with a voting process. So if there is someone, or you think someone is like, this person would be great at this specific role, feel free to mention that to us. Outside of that, last thing I have on my list before questions, so I know that we've gotten some questions about crossing guard, especially the one over at Crunch Fitness, not in regards to the gentleman not doing his job, but just in regards to concern for safety. But just to be clear on that, like PTA does fund the officer in the morning who is at the main entrance of Brushy Creek. That is something that funds through parents and donations come in that pays for that officer to be there, because that is not there's technically probably not enough officers to cover every school every morning for those kind of things like drop off and pick up. But that is something we feel like the school and us feel like is a benefit to the safety of our kids and for people actually getting here on time. Because if he was not there, it'd be a little bit more challenging. But the crossing guard is something that, like, if there's things with crossing guard, that is something with the police department / the city. So that is not something like that PTA provides or even the school is in charge of. Now, we can give input and suggestions on, we wish the crossing situation here in front of Crunch Fitness was a little safer or things like that. So that is something that we've talked about, like actually working with city or trying to work with the city / police department on seeing is there other suggestions or other ways to make it a safer crossing atmosphere for students. Because there are quite a few people who cross there in the mornings. I don't ever see what happens in the evenings or in the afternoons there, but in the mornings, there's quite a few kids that cross there. And it is, I mean, you're looking at 4 lanes because you got 2 on each side. So that is something just to make sure everyone is clear. That is not, that's not a school thing and that's not a PTA thing. That is a police department city thing. But we obviously can like suggest there be some evaluation recommendations. So that way they can evaluate that crossing situation. So that's more of a, we'll find out if anything updates in the future, but we are aware of it just in case anyone has been concerned about it. It's kind of one of those things that's, I think it's been a thing, just a concern, but
It was, and as
Yeah.
I mentioned to Joseph and Adam, I believe prior to COVID, there was a study that was being facilitated, I'm almost sure by the Taylor's community board, but then COVID happened. I think everything probably stopped. So
Probably wouldn't hurt to do it again anyway, just because of the gym opening and being so busy now in the
Yes.
mornings. It
Very
didn't
true.
used to be.
very true, yeah. But I spoke with the crossing guard, and he just said people are so distracted. So even despite his efforts to get people to slow down so that he can prepare to cross students, that people are looking at their phones or they're distracted.
Yep.
So the traffic has increased. So certainly is an opportunity, but he did share that he has communicated with his supervisors about some possible opportunities as well.
yeah, I know like any officer that I ever talked to about doing traffic stuff, they pretty much stress it as one of their least favorite things
Mhm.
just because of the distraction of people.
Mhm.
And they obviously have a police car with lights and they still talk about the safety of it, just mainly because of distracted people who are driving. But that's pretty much all we had on the list. But anyone have any questions or other things that we didn't discuss or that you have questions about?
Did you mention Spirit Night?
Oh, there is Spirit Night tonight at Roller Sports. That's 6 to 8, right? Yeah, 6 to 8 at Roller Sports. So Spirit Night. So if you're looking to roller skate or support the school or watch people fall or whatever you like to do at the roller rink, that is tonight from 6 to 8.
I had a question about our emailing list to all of the teachers. Is there a way for us, for the room moms or parents, to send out like a synopsis of like the rest of the year? Like, hey, get ready for this in April, this in May, like, just so then that way they're prepared. Because sometimes I get feedback that people are like, I didn't know this was happening so fast. I'm like, oh, I apologize, like, what am I supposed to, But
We can send them the like, the list of like,
like, let's
mark
just
your
get you
calendar.
quick. Yes.
Yeah, cause like I don't have an email this week to go out to parents, so I can put up what's left for the year. this
That would
week.
be amazing, or if even after we did it after like Valentine's, whatever it is, but it's just, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. A good save the date.
Yes.
There are a lot of
Dates.
It's been a weird January, February kind of slow.
Mhm.
Now it's gonna.
Yeah.
Shifting calendar too, this year is coming in hot to the end.
Yeah.
So in terms of the expenses that are coming up and listing things for what Booster-Con and fundraising is going towards, do we need to? I'm guessing we would need to vote or take action on that to say, here's this approved, and if that's starting on the 20th, that's a week from today, correct? So is it appropriate for us to do that now, or how does that work?
My guess would be if it's before the 20th, and without looking at all the details, I guess we would have to do like more of a, not impromptu, but more of just a scheduled online thing real quick, before the 20th. Because we'd obviously want to look at what is because again, like I talked about, it might be more of we're going to do phase 1 this year, which does give an upgrade, not a full upgrade, and then look at phase 2 and then consider the other things. Because I don't know how much, I can't remember exactly, but if we do hit our $25,000 goal, not to bank on that, but it kind of gives us a better picture of this is the amount allotted money that we will have to spend towards the school and benefit it. So that way we could decide like, well, okay, Brain Pop's easy, that's 4,000. We'll do these whatever mics and this. So I would say, I think we would have to do like just like a planned Zoom for 30 minutes just to kind of go through for a vote. That would be my guess based on
Yeah,
time.
that's what I think. I think the $10,000 that's already in the budget this
Right.
year, I think we need to make a decision on that. I think
Yeah.
that's a very,
Yeah.
easy decision to make
Yeah.
because we know we only have $10,000.
Right.
I think for the purpose of the booster fund, that is money that will either carry us over for next year.
Right.
Or in addition to help fill in some of the gaps of the budget for this year. And so I think if it's a carryover opportunity, I think it's okay for us to say that our goal
Yeah.
is to start the process of whatever it is that we're
Yeah.
gonna use the funds for. If it
Yeah.
is to refresh our performance space, or whatever we decide as a board. And I think it's appropriate for us to communicate that as well, even though it is, as you said, a phase 1, phase 2 opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not a teacher or student anymore. But I mean, Brain Pop and Poster Maker, which benefits the students and the teachers, is like pretty much right at that 10,000. So again, I've just looked to the experts on that kind of thing. If that feels like at least on that initial 10,000, because I know, like you said, we're talking about a different allotment coming in from fundraiser. But I don't know. I don't have any objections to Brain Pop and Poster Maker unless someone else has any different thoughts, at least for that 10,000. Because if because the initial thing was just to benefit the student population and the teachers. So, I mean, that touches all aspects of school. So unless someone has a,
I think it's a
Different.
great idea. I'm super excited about it. On a personal level, I think it's fantastic, so.
Yeah.
Same.
yeah, I guess you're here on a
Just
teaching
on
side of
the-
things and on the personal. You're on both.
It just gives me like, I just feel really good about it. I love it. Keep it up.
But I don't have any objections unless someone else has any other thoughts, but that one pretty much is right at our 10,000 mark and is coming up for renewal anyway right now. So it seems like a timely win.
I have a really quick question about the upgrades you want to make to the performance space. Does that include air circulation, ventilation, heat addressing at all? Because it is quite stifling up there.
Yeah, no, it does not. That's
is
more
not,
of a HVAC district
Mm,
opportunity. And traditionally, what we do when we have our performances, we always have to submit a request to make sure that the air is appropriate for the performance. But of course, we pack hundreds of people into a space. Sometimes it certainly tests the system, but that's something that we'll certainly continue to keep a pulse on. I know we've had some of our units replaced because they've gone out. And so the district has been working diligently to get us at 100% capacity as it relates to the operating system.
Good.
So I think some of that we have experienced in the past has been has been because of the lack of some of those opportunities. But in regards to the $23,000 quote, we can certainly look at it line by line. But portable microphones, some of the sound capabilities to be able for families to be able to hear. I get a lot of complaints sometimes when we have programs and performances, parents feel like that they can hardly hear some of the speakers. So the quote is a combination of things,
Okay.
but we can certainly look at it, and I'll give it to Joseph, and we can certainly unpack it together and make some decisions. What are priorities if we decide to move in that direction.
Sounds good. So do I have any, I guess I would need yeses to move forward on a side of things with Brain Pop and Poster Maker, at least for the 10,000 that was in that line item. Any,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else second that?
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bonnie.
That's probably not the proper way. That's probably not the proper.
Because not everybody's here. I don't know
Right.
if we had to like send it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm new to this. I
Right.
don't know what the
Not
protocol is.
necessarily. I think again, the budget has already been.
Right,
approved.
right.
So it's not necessarily,
Right.
having to get, everyone to be in agreement. It's
Mm.
just,
Yeah.
this is considered as a board meeting.
Yep.
And we've already committed as a board that we've allocated $10,000.
Yes.
This is just, hearing from, the instructional leadership team, based on recommendations for how to spend it. And then, within this, body, we can make the decision if we want to move forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if we were gonna use the 10,000 for something that was non-educational, then we would have to get we'd have to vote to change the budget. But I think where it's allotted for educational purposes, it allows us to agree to do it. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Again,
So I'll get those quotes, to you all for your records, and then we can certainly, collaborate how we move forward
Okay.
with those, renewal as well as, purchases.
sounds good. Any other questions, comments about anything? Alright. Well, thank you guys for being here on Tuesday. Thank you, Molly, for letting us be in your office, your space.
And on behalf of teachers, thank you for the poster maker and
Yeah,
Brave
Brave
Top,
Top, yeah.
because they will be thrilled,
Yeah.
thrilled. It's great. Poster maker is, we feel like that's a luxury around here, so thank
Good.
you for that,
Absolutely.
both of those actually.
All right, well, get ready for Spirit Night tonight.
Yeah.
And doing some boosting next week. All right,
It's crazy. That's next week.
I know it is.
Thank you.
Bonnie, I feel like you're so busy. I